Hey, hey, Phoenix is arising. Coach T here, your transformational coach and narc coach. And hopefully, this is recording. Last time I recorded a whole hour and a half and did not record. First, the mic was connected, but it didn't go through. So, welcome to those of you who are here, and welcome to Old Heads. And happy Thanksgiving, happy Indigenous Day, and blessings to all of you. Go to my community post. I have some presents, some gifts for you guys that I'll be posting. So please, if you are a subscriber, do not forget to check the community tab, okay? Because I'm just giving you guys, I'm working on some art and as well as my book and cover. So just an example. And it's my gift for you because I'm so grateful that you guys support me. When I started this channel, I really didn't know what it was going to entail. I am really not somebody who's out there. I like to be behind the scenes with a few mentions. But I'm not really, which is why you see me doing the thumbnails rather than having myself on screen. The only time you will see me, most of the time, is going to be with courses, programs, mini workshops that we engage in, whether it be on lives here or, well, it won't be here, Discord or Zoom. I'm still trying to figure out Discord. So anyway, that's the only time really there'll be be brief times, and there are other videos on the channel where I've shown my beautiful face. But right now I'm just so transformation is hard and sometimes can be ugly. So anyway, again, welcome. Phoenix is rising. And again, hello, my name is Tennille, and I am a transformational coach for Black, lesbian, and trans women between the ages of 30 to 50 who are transitioning, who are starting over from, a pivotal life event. Especially with cluster B personalities, which includes the narcissist. It's a whole cocktail of character disturbances. And so I guide you through your healing journey after narcissistic abuse or a hard time in your life that you've survived, and help you to get back to your authentic self, help you to reach your goals, help you to realize what it is that your purpose is. For instance, I went to a school, got my bachelor's, and was working on my master's. Had a year left before I realized that they really didn't care about Black female filmmakers, and so it really shocks me that now all of a sudden it's this hyper stuff, which I'm grateful for, but that wasn't there for me, 15 years ago. I had to go through a lot of stuff. So anyway, yeah. So I forgot why I even said that. Sorry about that. But anyway, so oh, that was why. Because I wasn't planning. I just wanted to be a filmmaker, scriptwriter, at least. I didn't know how I was going to make it into the business. I really didn't want to be a part of Hollywood, just do my own thing. Basically, just start my own business. But here I am doing life coach because I had something in my life, which was homelessness, happen. And, it was time for me to reevaluate and get to my higher self. And unlike you guys have me. I did not have anybody but God, which is absolutely awesome. But I would have liked to have human connection. Unfortunately, I was not into I was not in an environment that was conducive. It's kind of like, if you guys have seen The Matrix, everybody was being Mr. Smith. So so anyway, yeah, I've from experience, and a lot of training. So in the school of hard knocks, and also academically. So I help you guys rebuild yourselves, but you're doing all the work. I am a guide. Right? I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist. I am a coach, which means that I coach you through. I give you tools. I add to your art arsenal. I help you to upgrade your arsenal of, hey, this is what I need when in this situation. This, just like turning the light off and on, off and on, off and on. You're gonna, that's where I want to get you guys to where you're not living from your wounded self. You're living from your higher self because you found it, and you guys are best buddies now, right? So, and again, just to remind everybody, I'm not just a transformational coach and a narc coach. I'm also a survivor of gang stalking, witchcraft attacks, and attempted murder. As well as narcissistic abuse by people that I was not dating, but became severely obsessed with me for over 10 years. And in those 10 years, I was also homeless for 3 years, which was longer than what the divine had in store for me, because I'm a quick study. I came in here an old soul. So, which is a blessing. In this environment. But some people, again, they wanted to see me dead. The whole thing was for me to die. And so I survived because I asked the divine. No, I didn't blame anybody. I said, it all lies within me. What is it that's getting me to think that I deserve to be? I have created this environment for myself. Why? And so in those 3 years, I learned why. And so I go over with my clients a 4-step process that, is designed to help you to spiritually, financially, and physically and mentally free yourself. Right? Because a lot of times what happens is we absorb, other people's beliefs and patterns. That's what we absorb it from our parents. Our parents, I was never asked whether I wanted to be a Christian. And I leaned more over to Hinduism, Buddhism, those things, because it's intellectually higher. And I understood it because it was my life. It was my life in a past life. It's my life now. My search for God was actually the search for truth, the origination. And I remember telling myself that. So, the step 1 out of the 4 steps is reveal. So revealing those patterns and revealing those beliefs, especially if they're toxic, that keep us in poverty in all areas of our life and not living from our authentic self. Step 2 is heal. When trauma happens, we don't get the bigger picture normally because we're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Okay. So we're shutting ourselves down because we're in protection mode. So we're not seeing everything. Right. And most of the time, what I found when I was on the streets, and I noticed in hindsight, when God brought it up to my mind screen, was that I didn't even see anything. It was pure, just higher self and guides and ancestors, like, okay, go this way, go that way, instinct, just instinct. That's all it was. So when you calm down, when the snow globe stops shaking and you calm down, right? Then you get to see the who, what, when, where, why, and how to better process it, right? And this is not to bore you or to regurgitate anything, because so I'm one of those people, when I would go to counsel, I stopped because I was like, okay, number 1, I can do better all by myself. Me and God are healing me. Right. I have the mantras. I have the words of power. I have the ability to read. The library is my best friend. You know what I mean? So to go and pay somebody $60-$80 to tell me what I already know, or to try and use me as a guinea pig for whatever is popular at the time. Not saying that all psychologists or therapists are narcissists their damn selves, or are low. But if you're low budget, right, if you're going and you got a Medicare or Medi-Cal card and it's partially paid for because of that, you're getting the people who are just getting out of college or university. And a lot of them, it's they're learning. So again, you learn patterns, and sometimes they're toxic patterns. It goes back to reveal. We got to reveal those toxic patterns and beliefs. So when you get to the revealing, then you say, okay, so the way that you heal it is by actually taking a look at it. There were things in my life when I became homeless that I was so afraid to look at because embarrassment was attached to it, guilt was attached to it, shame was attached to it. Not all the time was it my guilt, was it my shame, was it my embarrassment. It was something that as an empath I had already absorbed. Right. My family knew early and hated me for it. I had many comments when I was young, actually, that there was something wrong with me because I didn't act like them. So I felt like an alien. Even, I felt like I did not belong in this family. I didn't belong, here. So I was always trying to ET phone home, but anyway, so once I allowed the Most High to give me wisdom, and I opened my heart to that, I opened my mind to that, and I saw, okay, these are situations that were hindering you because I was afraid. For instance, I found out that I was afraid to make money because somebody was always going to take it. Now I remember when I got my Social Security disability for CPTSD or whatever when I was younger. And because that was God. Sometimes God will use the system to take care of you, because if my father and mother abandon me or forsake me, the Most High will take me up. And so I have always had spiritual parents. I have not had physical parents. I've tried to make them, but I didn't realize that some of us work at a higher vibration, and to others it seems like we're immature or whatever because they lost that spark inside of themselves. If you guys ever watched Peter Pan movies with Robinson, forget his name, bless his heart. But if you've ever watched the Peter Pan movies, and there's a black kid who's going Robin Williams' face, and he's rubbing his fingers like he's digging for something, and he's looking really intensely, and he goes, all of a sudden, there you are, Pan. Okay, so he found his authentic self. The kid found his Peter Pan's authentic self, because Peter Pan had become an adult, right? And had forgotten, because adults, and that's what I was always told when I was a teenager. On one hand, see, as empaths, and when we're younger and we grow up in these narcissistic cluster B personality families, the network is always using us as garbage cans, as scapegoats. We're literally, so when you think about that, and you get out, it's like, so the narcissists, these cluster B personalities, these character disturbed creatures, the only thing that they don't want to deal with it, right? Monkey see, monkey do. They don't want to deal with their own problems. My father never wanted to deal with, and trigger warning, my father never wanted to deal with the fact that he was a sex offender. He never wanted to deal with it. Never wanted to deal with it. Blessings to you too, Jim. Yes, he never wanted to deal with it. And he made me take the blame for it. Like, literally. I had an aunt who actually admitted that the family would blame me. Actually admitted it. So hey, it's real. And like I said, the only thing that they want to do is to use you as a means to get away and to live the life that you're supposed to live. Right? So we get all these fairy tales are basically talking about the dynamics between, sometimes you're the antagonist, which means your mentality, the patterns that the toxic beliefs and the toxic patterns. Other times it's a mixture. Right? It's a mixture, because if the way that cluster B personalities get in is through a weakness inside of you. I wrote some notes actually before we get into the I'll finish up the 4 steps that I take my clients through. But before we get into how to outwit and be ahead of the devil cluster B, I want to share this with you, because I got a few downloads, and I noticed that when I get downloads, the devil, these demons, like when I say that, this is all from experiences, Phoenixes, all from experiences. And it's not that, I've transitioned, I've moved from the environment that I was when the Most High told me to. And, you know, it still didn't stop, but the most, sometimes we have to do things like a lot of us, we've moved with a scent to our name, right? We've moved by the hair of our chinny chin because we shouldn't be breathing, because the cluster bee got word from a flying monkey or monkeys, right? With technology now, it's like people will always know where you are. I mean, like the surveillance stuff is real, but it's not, you can find me 2,000 miles away, but you couldn't find bin Laden, or, you know what I mean? You can't find these sex offenders. You can't find the names of the pedophiles, who went to Epstein Island, but you can find me. You can't find the people, I see them every single day. The people who are going from the border to and crossing over with fentanyl. You can't find them, like, and one thing that I realized too, that the Most High brought up to me during the day today, because it's already almost 11 o'clock, and I was working on some stuff, and I was like, oh gosh, because it's my only day off. I got to work tomorrow. I get to work tomorrow. I'm happy about that. So the one thing that the Most High said is that a lot of times people like I said, we meet our energy. We meet energy before we meet the physical body. And so it doesn't matter what race we are. I'm really burnt out with race. I'm really burnt out with race. I'm tired of it, because when you've lived almost, a half a century, you start to see patterns that are always, so the cycle of birth, life, and death, the problem, reaction, solution template of the cluster B personality, the way that they do, get you to be distracted, get you to question yourself. That anytime, and isn't that weird? And I thought about that. I was like, isn't that weird? Like, because I'm still trying to understand this from a spiritual level. Like, what is the actual purpose? Now, I've seen some battles go on with my spiritual eyes. I've seen some battles go on. There's a battle brigade, I believe it's an anime. If you watch that, the young boy has glasses where when he puts those on, he's heightened and he can see things that the others can't, and so therefore he can help. And so so when I say spiritualized, that's what I mean. It's like I actually see and I feel. Like I've had somebody has their intention has been so intense that they've burnt my arm. They burnt my muscle. They use some kind of insect or whatever. They're into insect magic, spider magic. I've felt spider, what I mean. And I don't do drugs. I don't tweak. I don't do any of that stuff. You just know. But I said, Most High, I was like, why? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just want to distract people, and people aren't realizing that the same templates, how many times we've had, I mean, people have been being killed, quote unquote, over race. They're not being killed over race. They're being killed over their spirits. So as a coach, that's what I want you guys to get above all of that. Because I'm tired of feeling like I'm alone in this. That's why I'm creating the Phoenix Rising Academy community here online. And that's why I'm grateful that you guys are supporting me, because it's really hard. It's really hard to be able to see, but I'm grateful that I have that gift, because then I can share it with you. I mean, I've seen some battles. I remember I was at work. I was doing dispatch. I was watching the monitors, and I was at work, and I was just standing there. I think I went and got some water, and I was standing there. And I wasn't looking at anything. I was looking into the heavenly realm. I was looking. All of a sudden I just tapped out. Sometimes I can do that. Just tap out, and it's not really that I'm tapping out. I'm just tuning more highly in. I'm very much aware of the world that floats around me. I really am. And more so because I asked to be. So I saw the battle going on. And so there were literally, I saw fiery little sparks, little embers of whatever, but I also saw all of this destruction. And I was happy. So I think it was our side, I was happy because I was like, oh my gosh, because, these guys don't realize, and I think they do realize, let me not, artificially dumb these guys down. They're not dumb. They are into the occult. They are into witchcraft. Somebody pointed out on TikTok today, because the predators in my life have been the Hispanic gangs, and it's nothing. I didn't do anything to them, but because of their belief system of you're disrespecting us because you told one of our members to not go somewhere that we have free reign. So that's what they were teaching each other. We have free reign because we study the occult, because we have these hand signals and mudras and demonic signs. It's not really a mudra. It's just a hand thing, that probably somebody made up. And whatever, I mean, like Santa Muerte is something that's made up, literally made up. But people have given their lives. They will go down on their knees and pretend like they have a cross. And these are cartel members. These are prostitutes. And you know what I mean? It's not that they can't change, but they don't want to. This is a lifestyle. If I give just like this, they treat Santa Muerte like they treat the empath, like they treat the Heyokas, like they treat the healers and the earth angels amongst us. They just dump everything on it. I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to get any tools so I can, fish another day. I want you to do it for me, and you to give me all the glory and all the accolades. I want to benefit from the work that you've done. So yes, it's not an easy thing. You're welcome. Thank you. It's not an easy thing at all. I mean, it really is not. It's not an easy thing to go through. Life with people when you're surrounded by people who really do truly think they're delusional, but they've used witchcraft to get into the minds of the people. I constantly, like when I go to sleep, I have to cover myself. I have to call forth angels and protocol angels. I have to seal off myself, right? Because even though I'm not in that environment, as I've stated before, it doesn't matter whether you are near or far. The cluster B, malignant narcissist, that whole cocktail, they don't want to lose. And one thing that I saw when I did transfer and, got out of it, we were so like, oh my gosh, and so they don't want the body to rest. Your enemies don't want you to rest. Your enemies don't want you to get a chance to breathe and heal. Right? So because if you get a chance to breathe and heal, you're going to grow back stronger than you were the last battle. And then the last battle, you did some serious damage. And they don't want to be taken out. Now, they don't have, because they're delusional anyway, it's their delusions of grandeur, their delusions of being so self-important and so powerful that makes them continue, to keep moving forward. Instead of just taking an L and being like, okay, dude, I'm sorry, like I'm out, deuces. You win. It's not that. I keep talking about the same people because it's the same people, for me at least, that the principles and principalities have been using. In the kingdom of evil, these guys have got a body count. Like, for the things that these guys were doing to me, trying to give me diseases that I don't have. Imagine that. Imagine the amount of study that these guys have had to do And they do, because I know personally that these guys take classes. They meet regularly. What online, they got they actually have a YouTube channel where people can log in with, and go, and as long as you can shut the YouTube channel down to private, right? As long as but to only to anybody who has the link. That's what I do when I do my Patreon. You guys can learn, how to clear your chakra, but you're the only ones because you're subscribers. So when you subscribe, nobody else gets to see that. But that's the point of you paying a monthly fee. So to my Patreon, which supports Phoenix Rising Academy and also supports you by giving you the tools to learn how to deal with your complex post-traumatic stress from being in a cluster B personality relationship for, years. I mean, really, it doesn't take years to have to, like, it doesn't take that long. Sorry. It doesn't take that long for them to do damage. And as I've said before, these are predators. These are huge predators, Phoenix is. So, again, the first step that I was taken through that I share with my clients is reveal. The second one is heal, right? When you know better, you do better. 3 is you grow from it. Once you take, because you have to grow up. You can't, again, I started to say it, I didn't finish, but one thing that the Most High revealed to me was that when I would get embarrassed, or when I would, because somebody had already told me, oh, you're too stupid, or you're too fat and ugly to get a woman like that, and I believed it, and I shut myself off from it. Anytime some gorgeous woman would come up to me, I'd be like, no, okay, I don't really, I would avoid her like the plague, because I was believing that I wasn't good enough. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not good enough because nobody's told me that I'm good enough. So, I can't be with you. So I was, I was single and celibate, or well, just single at least, for a long time, because I didn't believe that I was worthy of to be loved. But I had some knockout women. I mean, like, model. Like, I had one who was just like, totally in love with me. And she was like, you know what? I really wish that you would see what I see in you, and I really wish that I would have at that time. I really wish that I would have, you know? So you grow from being able to see, this is how you mature. Grow is the third step. Grow is another way of saying mature. This is how we mature. This is how we get emotional intelligence. Sometimes it's scary to look at our past. It was scary to look at the beatings, the starvation that I went through for 8 years. It was scary. I was treated like a slave. I had to do military exercises, and that, brings on my love of weightlifting, because I was in a lot of times what happens with people who have survived abuse is that they end up what is it called, recreating it in some way, shape, or form. Right. So, I had power because we want to have the power back. So we didn't have the power before. Right. But the thing of it is that I love to work out. Don't get me wrong. I like working out. But I was I had become, because of the current state that I was in just a few months ago, actually. Is working out is what saved my life. And these guys would try and take away anything that made me healthy, anything that made me powerful. And I had people watching me, and they knew that I knew that they were watching me, because it was almost seemed like the whole damn city, So, it's amazing that you can still have some healing through going through the trauma. So here I had all that, I had all the flying monkeys and the slander, and I would still have people trying with me. They were all from the same cult and covenant and gang, and people would try and take their shot. They wanted that street cred. So my life to them was a game. And even now, there's times where I've sat and allowed myself to feel what it felt like to be attacked on a level that I have never been attacked before, when somebody is breaking your energy body barriers, when they're messing with your head to the point where you feel sick and dizzy, as if you feel like you're having a stroke, and it's not a stroke, it's them. Like, I couldn't go to the doctor. God said go ahead and call the ambulance one time, because there was this entity that was trying to cause me a heart attack. And and I was further from that. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but when you're when you're homeless, you got to walk a lot because people don't want you around. So, and not only that, I do like to work out. So when I worked out, I'm sitting here, I'm doing 45 minutes of cardio, and then I'm doing at least 3 machines, doing weightlifting, adding to get that lean muscle mass. And especially toward when I quit smoking, because I knew I was going to bulk up, I was going to gain some weight because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do my intermittent fasting that I had been doing for 2 years. Right. So, and it amazed me, because when I look at video that I shot for my documentary, and I'm looking at myself, there's things that's like, gosh, you're absolutely handsome, but then on the other angles, it's like, where is that gut coming from? It's stress fat. So, so here's the thing. Number 4 is to show. So as the last step, that I take you guys through to your authentic self. And so I do have an 8-week program coming up this next year, this new year, that is 2 parts in one. You got to take the whole thing though. So, to get the discount, it's $12.75, I believe, for the 8 weeks. And you guys, not only do we meet weekly on a Zoom call after every week, and it's slow pace. It's you go at your pace, but I want everybody to show up every week so we can discuss. So we can discuss what you guys are learning. A lot of people, oh, well, I already know that. We say, but do you know it though? Because sometimes we hear, like, people think that narcissism means that they're so into themselves. No, they have a low self-esteem and a huge void. And they're not just narcissists. They're a whole cocktail of character disturbed people. They're a whole cocktail. That's why you can never pin them down. That's why it's crazy making, because they're literally rotating through demons. I mean, I don't want to say, like personality, but it's just demons. Like, these are the people, these are the main ones that can break you down, right? So they switch. If you've ever watched them, they'll switch up. I mean, you've gone through these relationships. When has a cluster B personality ever been stable? Ever? I knew a woman that her head got hot because she couldn't shut her own damn head off, and she was tired of it. The only thing that she could ever think of was doing nasty things to people. One of the grossest things that with this spiritual warfare battle with these principles and principalities and their minions is that when these guys come into your body, they will come into your energy field. And I have a woman who, my chest literally started to stretch. And I'm not exaggerating. My chest, because this woman has the ability through her occult witchcraft training, through the Norteños, the Santa Muerte bullshit, this is why you have to believe the best about yourself. Stop selling yourself short, because other people see you exactly for who you are. And since you aren't going to fight back, they're going to take everything from you. I would rather fight and for my life, fight for my purpose, fight for my God, fight for my bloodline, and die than to just be dormant, because that's what they're used to people doing. That's why this woman would get so mad. you know, and I'm hearing her talk to me like and I really honestly, I don't know if you guys like the left ear, the right ear thing, because it's not tinnitus. It's, you know, people try and, you know, a lot of times this world, because they're trying to keep us asleep, will minimize or trivialize or emphasize what is a spiritual calling. When I hear ringing in my ears, it's the trumpet sounding, right? When my spirit suddenly gets giddy, it's my higher self and my guides that are like, yes. It's the child inside of me that's grown up that's like, yes, we've made it. I know you feel like shit, bitch, but I am here to tell you that you made it through to the next level. And that is exactly what I felt when I was on the streets for 3 years. I would feel myself transcend to the next level. I would literally, it was kind of like, if you guys have ever watched Highlander was a you know, show based off of a Celtic myth or whatever, and you would have these, it's like they're like vampires, or they were live forever, right? So they were, and the only way that you could kill them was to cut off their head, and whoever cut off that Highlander's head would absorb their powers. And I am actually here to tell you, because I didn't think about it. I know that, and this is, my mom was a cluster B personality, but she was created that way. And I know that it, you know, the remorse is not remorse, but the empathy, not that I was going to put up with her shit, because I didn't put up with her abuse at all. Like, she did not like me. The demons in her did not like me, because they knew that I could have healed her. And they knew that my intention, see, they will tell, woo, it really is about Phoenix's Rising Academy. The enemy does not want you to succeed in connecting and freeing anybody from bondage. You are not I have had such an effect on people just being in, you know, I'm a regular person, you know. I mean, just speaking my truth. I've had a big effect on people. And I noticed that my channel, this is why I'm asking people, please, if you just come up on here for at least, you know, a few minutes, please hit the subscribe button, or just let it play in the background and open, you know, your phone, or do something just to help me get out there and reach the people who really need to hear something that I have to say. I've talked about so many different topics. It's unbelievable that nobody would be able to get anything out of it. But I noticed, because it's really weird, like there'd be times where, oh, okay, you got this and you got that, you know, or, you know, these many people have been watching your videos. Then all of a sudden there'll be nobody. It'll just be dead, you know. And I know that, you know, pathological envy is one of the narcissists, and it's very dangerous, because I've had this person who's still obsessed. Like I said, I'm not in the environment, but they can't reach me like that. And they're getting ready to go down, and everybody's going to see it. And so when I start talking about it, you guys are going to have to catch up by watching other videos. But this person will energetically shut down, like my phone was shut down because she didn't want me talking to people. I'm nowhere to be found in that city, but this person still thinks that, hey, I can dictate, right? I can dictate what this person does energetically, right? She used to, I used to all of a sudden get a sick feeling in my stomach. Now I'm high energy. I am very much higher energy. And I'm still higher energy. But what they started doing before we left was attacking my bones, attacking my muscles, attacking, I don't know what kind of witchcraft, but I could feel it tingling. I could feel it permeating in the air, right? So, and I could tell when they've put me in a jar or something, in a coffin or whatever, right? Because it's like some Tales of the Crypt shit. And that's when I start feeling the cockroaches or bugs or spider webs, and there's no spider web to be found. Like, spider webs do float through the air. I've seen them, but the Most High lets me know, because the Most High doesn't want me to go crazy, right? So the Most High will say, okay, did you see that? Yes. And I have a high perception anyway of things. So, and I'll be like, yeah, I see it. I see it. But that's not what it is, right? Like, one time my legs blew up, like swollen, my calves, my shins, right? Blew up. Whereas, and I said, God, I just want to do a check-in, because as much as I've been working out, I was doing 200 sets of squats. I do 100 on one side, and I do 100 on another machine. That was my goal for myself. This is when I had quit smoking, right? And I know that for me, I have to work my lower body, get that booty down, get those legs tight. And I said, as much as I have been working out like this overnight, literally. And so what they'll try and do is superimpose themselves into your body, whereas it's like they're puppeteering you. Right? So I'm feeling her thoughts. I'm feeling her anger. I'm feeling her bitterness. This bitch is like yelling at me. Right? I mean, like, this is how crazy it is. And this is how intense it is, because she has left her body to come and harass me, because she's jealous, because she's crippled. She's jealous because she's been lying about her age, so she looks old, but she's obsessed. I don't pay her bills. I don't go around her. I don't talk to this woman. We've never talked in a long time. Like, there was a time we talked, and then we stopped talking, because I was like, okay, you're crazy. God told me to get away from you, so I'm going to go. So when she discarded me, because she had me in a relationship with her without my consent. This is why I focus on Black, lesbian, and trans women between 30 and 50 years old, because we need to be you have to have a place to come and talk about this and share, what's going on in your life, and find that other people are going through the same thing, and that there is a solution, right? If that young girl in Mexico with her frenemies, as people are calling, but no, they purposely sacrificed her. And that's the doctor violated her. And this is a download. The doctor violated her. That's why he waited 3, 4, 5 hours, on top of everything else, because she was not supposed to make it. She could have made it. She would be paralyzed or whatever. She could have made it. And she was barely conscious. Think about that. Those are her last days. And this guy, you know what I mean? And why did they want her to stay there? They wanted her to stay in there because they knew that there would be somebody who would come and make sure that she did not make it. People think that and I'm going to get off of that, because it's like I can't convince people of things. You say, like I said, Santa Muerte worship is big. It is global, and it is literally taken over the United States of America. You're worried about Trump or Biden or Indian, Kamala Harris, and what you need to be worried about is your own soul, because these guys are skilled and they are deadly. If you're not like me, if you are hiding your gifts and you have not enhanced them by going through spiritual college, then you're going to be swept up in the chaos. Because, like I said, I'm telling you guys what I went through and how I survived it. Look, when you have somebody who is literally puppeteering you, who leaves, this woman is on welfare. She doesn't have a job. So she has 24 hours. Like, I had the same thing where I would work still, because I don't like being idle. And they would penalize me, and then they would give me all the money back. But, when these guys that I was dealing with, most of them don't have all the time on their hands. There were some who I met that was like, okay, you guys, you were either in my dream. I had people come to my dream and had the nerve to talk to me. So when we moved, it's like, I knew God had said, they know that you're coming. They know that you're coming. And I'm like, but I didn't feel like I was going to have to go through the same thing that I had gone through in the past. But there were gang members here, so they'll wear their red and black here too, right? Though they wear it, and when you see these guys, it's two different. I'll go over that because I saw a YouTube channel and they explained it very, very. It was he was talking about the Rosicrucians, and I know my auntie was a part of the Golden Dawn, but he was talking about the Rosicrucians, and I don't know much about them. I have books and stuff, but he was saying that basically they're trying to cut you off. So when they wear red and black, they are conjuring. They think that they're conjuring up Santa Muerte. You're not conjuring up Santa Muerte. You're conjuring up two principalities. One deals with your from your crown to your Manipura chakra, and the other one deals with the from the sacral to the root chakra, because they don't want you to be in alignment with yourself. Right? So what I had to do, how you outwit the devil, the cluster B who works for them, how you outwit them is by knowing yourself. You have to tap out of the craziness. You have to tap out, and peace be upon her, and justice and is being done in the spiritual realm. I claim it on behalf of her and her family. The judgment, those people and their whole entire family, their whole entire bloodline owe her. You did something, because that's what they were trying to do to me. I had people lynching me. I had Mexicans lynching me in the spiritual realm while smiling in my face. These are the sociopaths. I have no feelings towards you, but I can smile in your face. I can have sex with you. And the reason why that you never detected is because they're so comfortable, because they're tapped out. So they're not somebody but you'll get those that have done too much for too long, and it's the demon starts to seep and ooze from their aura. Like with this lady ogre, it's seeping from her, right? So when and again, back to the body where they're trying body snatch you and try and puppeteer you and control your mind and remotely control you. Like a remote control car, basically. They're trying to control you. What I felt the other day was this lady, this demon, and her lust for young little girls. And I've mentioned it before, and I said to them, because I have to cast them out. You have no right inside of my body. You have no right to be in my energy field. You have no right to be trying to mess up my mind. I am nowhere around you. There's no excuse. But what you find with the cluster B personality is that they will always have an excuse. So what do you have to do? You have to shut that excuse down. You don't have to listen to anything that they have to say. The first sign of danger, when you get those red flags, you go and protect yourself. Right? So when you're doing the work on yourself, when I'm taking you through those four steps, reveal, heal, grow, and show. When I'm taking you through those steps, those are the steps to get you to have to see with the eyes of an adult, with the eyes, you're coming from a place of power now, not a wounded soul. How you stop becoming a wounded soul is that you stop allowing people to push you around and influence your mind. I should be dead or crazy in a mental hospital right now. I should be dead and crazy in a mental hospital right now. But I'm not. I'm laughing. I'm clearing my chakra. I'm eating cheesecake. I'm playing with my babes. I'm getting to know people. When I first got here, people were like really like flirting with me. I was like, oh my God, like really? I haven't had that happen in 10 years. I don't know what to do with that, right? But I enjoyed it. I didn't run away from it. I didn't get bitter. I didn't, you know what I mean? Because sometimes when you're not bitter, but angry or anything, or, just kind of put off by it. I mean, there's times where I have been triggered and I've flipped and but I talk myself down. See, we talk ourselves down now. phoenixes. So the way you outwit the devil and get ahead of the cluster bees, this is how I was able to move. Was I was able to just to shut down my thoughts, to shut down the fear. Because they were overloading me. I tell you, when I say barrage, like I'm talking flotillas, all hands on deck, like arrows, cannons. They were shooting everything at me at once. It was nonstop for 24/7. I don't know what kind of thing you have to be able to attack, but see, they have many members. Right? If anybody has saw Panther, I mean, I was not impressed with it. I think that the Coogler sold out. He sold his soul because it made Wakandians look weak and childish, unable to defend ourselves. Unable to get, because see, the thing of it is what I had to learn, because as an empath, I thought, okay, I'm a healer, I'm a lover, I'm a mother, I'm a nurturer. And all those stereotypes that if you're a Black woman, or trans, and, we don't want to deal with your anger. We don't want to deal with your loud mouth. We don't want to deal with your sassy ways unless it's comedy, unless it can make, we can enjoy it somehow. We don't want you to be telling the truth to people, right? We don't want all that. So that's how I grew up. So, to be able, so I was always trying to be docile. I would always hold myself back. That was people pleasing. I'm pleasing you. When you stop pleasing people, because when I realized the gravity of my situation, that I was in an environment, a city where the gangs were running it. They'll tell you like right now that the Mexicans run California. The lady that is obsessed with me and in one of the gangs said they are taking over. She said that boldly. That is not racist. That is a member who is Puerto Rican and Italian, by the way. Like, what the thing that I found is that they have, in this demonic cult, whether you want to call it a gang or whatever, it's like, when Trump said, hey, they're organizing themselves as the mafia, the Klan also, erased their tattoos with lasers. The Klan also changed what they were doing and how they were doing it to be more sophisticated. And it's beyond me. I don't want you guys to be phoenixes, to be one of these guys, with these people, especially as Black people, to be one of these Black people who are just like, oh, well, everybody likes us, or they're just trying to do their own work. No. You don't understand. I see the signs everywhere. I think the thing that has amazed me where I'm at now is that these guys, they're not coming after me. Like I just assumed, but I actually, I assumed, but I was trusting God at the same time. And my trust for the Most High, and just seeing, like David said, I look, I look to the past where you came to my rescue and you blessed me and you did this and you did that. So even though I'm having to wait a longer time for you to get this lunatic off of my ass, I'm concentrating on what you've already done for me. See, that's what I had to do. Because what they wanted me to do was to get, to start cursing God. They started it again. It's like, one thing when we got here was the transition, and the attempt. I could see real more clearly how this demon possessed narcissist was had created this illusion. Like literally I was trapped in a world. I was trapped in a demonic world, like in her mind, or in their mind, because it's not just her. She doesn't have the, the stamina, but she's been the loudest. Like, I don't like having pedophiles in my energy. It's not okay. It's not okay. But this person is still like, oh, well, you did this to me and you did that to me. How was I, but it's just an excuse. It's just an excuse that only they validate, right? So, um, yeah. So anyway, the way that you do that is you start giving praise. How you keep building yourself up. There's going to come a time when they know that you're getting ready to leave, when they know that they start getting desperate, like they just want you to fail, they want you to, they want you to die, they want you to do whatever their initial intentions were, and all you did was grow from it. There's going to come a time where you're going to get hit the hardest, as I just described, right? I got hit the hardest a couple months before um, I left. Got hit the hardest, and it was more than I could bear, right? But I got through it. And in the amazing thing, the way that I did that was I just kept saying, if I stop, I would react in my own mind and not necessarily outside. Right. If worse came to worse, I would call the police. If there were times where the Most High said, if they try you to get physical with you, remember, I had the succubus that hired a hitman to kill me and my dogs. Now, I don't know how she paid for it because she doesn't have any money, but you know what I mean? I mean, this person hired somebody to kill me. I had to let that sink in when we moved. And it was at work when I was by myself, fortunately. And I just started bawling. I was like, whoa, because all of a sudden the gravity just hit me. So the way that you outwit and get ahead of the devil cluster B is to do you. And I can't stress that enough. I want to say something really deep and profound, but because what I did during this whole thing was I talked to God. Anytime they were trying to get me away, I got closer. I did more prayers and meditations. Sometimes I couldn't do but two, three, 3 or 4 mantras of the same ones. Now I get to, go through my whole playlist on YouTube. Like that's simple to some people, but when you are a spiritual being and you need that connection, I don't necessarily need connection with other humans having a spiritual experience. I need connections with the source. And I need to sing those words of power, right? Those words of power have protected my kids from being killed. Because don't think that they didn't come after them. I had to go after them when they were raping one of my kids. So the first step is to give praise and to say thank you for what has already been done and what is about to be done. Decree over yourself that you are free and that you have received your recompense. My spiritual mom used to tell me that, and I didn't understand until being in this battle the depths and how important your own imagination and your own beliefs and patterns are. The beliefs that you have about yourself are so important, because you have people who are skilled. They are adepts, okay? That is, they are skilled at manifesting from the spiritual into the physical plane, which means the spiritual is your mind. Somebody wanted my skin to burn and leave a wart, and I heard them laughing. I'm clairaudient. I heard them laughing because I was kept coming, and it's like, oh, what is this? Is this a burn? Did I get bit by a spider or something? No, it was them. So understand what I'm saying. You have to get control over your own mind. That's how I was still able to heal. That's how I was still able to hear the word of God in my mind, in the intuition, even though at that time I felt like I was literally going crazy. And I said, I think I'm going to end up in prison, because I'm a warrior. I'm a healer, but I'm a warrior. So you have to get control of your own mind. That's you. I said the Psalms 91, Psalms 23, Psalms 64. I said the Bagalamukhi mantra over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I said mantras that would break their psychic attacks, all that stuff. So when I teach that program, I expect you guys to sign up for it. Those are words of power. When they tried to get me to curse God, and I ended up saying some stuff like, "Why ain't you doing anything?" Because I did say, I said, "Lord, I said I'm gonna have to be on 24/7. I can't do that. I would have to be chanting mantras. I would have to fast." It's not that the fasting didn't help. It's that these guys could switch out people when somebody else had to go to work, or when somebody else had to go to their family, or when somebody else just got plain tired. Somebody else was there to take their place. I'm only one person. But think about this. I have pretty much about 75% of the city trying to have sex with me or kill me or kill me. Have sex with my dog and or kill them all. But yet I'm one person with a legion of angels to call on. So I learned, you guys, I started to call them. It's like, look, I can't do this anymore. Please intervene. Intervene in my life now. I was able to decree, rip them to shreds in the spiritual world, lock them in their own spiritual prison. Anytime they even think about coming to me, I learned to use my imagination. Okay, so you're imagining lynching me. I'm going to imagine you getting stuck by spikes every time you come into my energy field. Do you hear me, Phoenix's Rising Academy? This is no longer a joke. There is no longer anything being hidden spiritual. It's time for you to start studying. It's time for you to start going on your journey, your healing journey. It's time for you to raise up that little child in you that's been hurt. It's time for you to get your mind right. I got a guy in the place that I'm living in the next door who was projecting himself onto me from the other room. I was able to recognize it and detour it. Every time I say a mantra, he gets upset and he starts to wrestle around and cause a lot of chaos. Every single time. So it's not about getting emotionally involved in it. It's just recognizing, okay, because I've had experience, I can tell when I'm around a demon-possessed person. You can look at this guy and know that he's not there. Somebody actually at my work was saying that, she was being attacked by witchcraft from her own family. That she said even she's dating somebody. She's like, I don't know why, but it's like, but I can see it in her. I can see that there is something that is not otherworldly, basically inside of her, that does not want affection, that does not want love, does not want anything. They revolt at the sight of it because they feel that they're too powerful for all that. They want lust. They want to take it. Imagine that this woman was in my energy field lusting. I'm doing art for Black women, and she's lusting over the images of the little children. And I had to stop. I was like, oh my God, that's so, you know what I mean? I had to rebuke her. Get out. You're not welcome here. This is not your empire. This is my property. Right? I've said this many times in other videos. That is the way that you outsmart. You do your own work and you shut it down. You shut your mind off you shut yourself off from engaging in belittling yourself. You got to shut yourself off from that. How you outwit them is you hyper focus on God. You imagine and you give thanks for everything that has gone on in your life, that you survived. They were trying to come at me the other day, and I was like, why am I feeling like this? I said, okay, nope, And I got mad a little bit, and I said, Mama God, I said, they're coming in again. Right? Because these guys are creatures of habit. This woman is determined to envelop me in sewage, in spiritual sewage. Every once in a while, like I said, when you do a jar spell on somebody who's still alive, right, you are encasing their soul. You're encasing them in the cayenne pepper and the onions and all that other kind of stuff, right? But you're encasing them for your ego. You're encasing, this one lady's encasing me because she has a family and everything else. I think she has a newborn baby, as I was smelling diapers and stuff. Because a lot of times people will psychically try and involve you in their life, right? Oh, I'm going to want to share this feeling and emotion. I don't want to know. I don't care. Like if I haven't talked to you for 3 years and you've been obsessing over me for those 3 years, you know what I mean? This is why, again, that I because this happens in lesbian relationships and in the lesbian community. I have never dated any one of these guys, as you guys have heard my story with this. I've said it many times before. I was never intimately involved. Right? But because these guys are so thirsty, because the only sustenance that they have is demonic, when an angelic being comes around them and is absolutely authentic and altruistic, they don't know what to do with it but to try and gobble it up. And of course, they're going to get offended because when you reject them, they realize that they're really not worthy anyway. So the whole thing was to try and beat you into submission and to think less of yourself, to cause confusion in your mind and to cut you off from the sunlight of the spirit, to cut you off from that connection. I remember before we left, I said, Most High, I said, I can't feel you, but I know that you're there. So I need you to intervene. I need you to take control, because if you don't, I'm done. I may die. I was like, I have had it with this shit. I have had it. I have had it with being beaten in the spirit. I've had it. I mean, these guys were like, what was it the other day? All of a sudden, my lungs just shifted. You know, I mean, because this is, again, you have to learn to get into your imagination, to get some quiet time. You have to dedicate your time and efforts to your spiritual practice, to uplifting and raising your vibration, because they cannot live in happiness. They can't live in that vibration of love. It really honestly burns them away. You can't have, it says in the Bible, you either hate the one or and love the other. They love evil and they hate good. But that's not you. So how you outwit the devil is that you give your life over when those times when you can't handle it and it's too much and they're driving you crazy with all these distractions, with all this slander, with all these obstacles and hindrances that they're putting in your way, right? With this energetic stuff, because that's what they'll do. They want you to be afraid. They want you to be intimidated, because fear causes you to do what? Fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn. And all of them are good states for them. They will exploit any state that you try and go into to have power and control. So how you outwit them, Phoenixes, is by getting into prayer, not necessarily fasting, because it's like, but fasting does help though. I mean, because like I said, I was dealing with the city. And now I still got scragglers who want to be, we just miss your energy. Yeah, exactly. See, you don't miss me. When you have people who don't like you, don't want to talk to you, right? You're sitting there, they're not even asking you. Like I remember I lived with this one woman who's been stalking me for quite some time, who's been obsessed over what I eat, where I go, right? Just anything in my life that I do that she can't do. It's like, she's jealous. Like, isn't that pathetic? I mean, to me, that's pathetic. It's sad. You could go get a job, but you don't want to get a job, because if you go get a job, then that will take your time away from psychically trying to cause somebody to get into a car crash or raping somebody, or, excuse my, for the YouTube, but, sexually assaulting somebody. This woman is a sexual predator. So yes, in the lesbian and gay and trans community, we have sexual predators, and it's time that we start talking about it. And they have character disturbances, also known as cluster B personalities. That's my focus. That's who I coach. I got two people. One's bisexual, the other one's a lesbian. I identify as lesbian, but these guys don't want to go their own separate ways. right? Because they have a character disturbance. They have demons inside of them that when they see the light in somebody else, they get jealous. So it's not a partnership, right? How many of you have been told, "Oh, I'm not in a part." It's some people don't have partners or lovers; they have hostages. So you have a hostage. You don't have somebody that you love when you're a cluster B personality. You have a hostage. You got to put them up on the shelf and store them for the winter because, you're cuffing, but some people may leave during cuffing season or after cuffing season, right? Then people start to try and come back either way. The way that you outwit the devil is by getting control of your mind and doing your work. If I wouldn't have hyper focused on job, I would focus on, okay, I got to get this much money. I have $3,000 saved up. I would like to get 5 or 10. And I was even told the Most High, I was like, look, they owe me. They've stolen, like they literally stole 10 grand from me. Right? They stole it. And they know that they stole it. That's just the littlest that they stole that I can count. I'm not talking about the spiritual debt that these people owe me. Right? So when and I've said it before, when you do your actual cleaning in your house cleaning, when you get your mind right because I had to ask the Most High, why am I afraid of money? Because my grandma used to steal my money when I was younger. Made me feel powerless. When I did say no, she called in my cluster B father and he beat the shit out of me because I stood up to her. And that's his mama. Right? If you cared about his, we can go a long way into that. But you see what I'm saying? I was taught that learned helplessness. I was taught that I was helpless to do anything for a long time. So I had to attack that. I had to go out. When you go after your fears and you face them, sometimes Phoenix is facing them again, is doing step 2 in the 4 steps that I take my clients through, is doing steps 1 and 2. Let it be revealed and then have the courage to heal it, not just ignore it. Healing it means that you're facing it. You're looking at the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Let God play it on your mind screen. Listen to your intuition, because that's what I did. That's how God revealed it to me. I played it on my mind screen because I'm all the clairs. So, played it on my mind screen. He talked to me about it and was like, look, this is what, and would show me images like, this is what you've done before. This is why you know what I mean? You got a fear of this because your grandma used to take it. And then when I got Social Security disability, I had all these people calling me that I owed them money. Some of them I didn't owe them anything. I'm like, what are you talking about? Right? So it made me afraid to make more than enough money because if I did, somebody would try and take it. But looking at something critically, analyzing your life, right? So that you can be able to tell your voice from the Most High's voice and the Most High's voice from a demonic principle or principality's voice or their minions. Right? So yesterday when I was on the train and I had somebody in my energy field who's had a heart attack or has tried to cause me to have a heart attack, right? There's nothing wrong with me. I mean, that's a blessing within itself. Because through all of it, I didn't eat poorly. Right? And they tried to go after me because I'm really weight conscious, right? So that means that I had to love myself through being fat. Still fat, have to love myself. Get to love myself. Because it's not the lack of, there's no way in heck that 3 years of homeless and walking can equal, 2 years of intermittent fasting and working out at the gym regularly, like 3-4 days regularly, had a whole regime down and every regimen down and everything. This is stress fat. So, and the Most High told me it was stress fat. So that's where I get my confirmation. I don't do anything. Learn not to do anything until the Most High gives you confirmation. That's how you outwit the devil. See, that's how I got out. Because really, before I got out, I was delirious. I was like, oh shit, I'm not going to make it. And I don't want to go like this. That's exactly what I thought. And so I called on God. It's like, you know what? I have seen and see they kept trying to like scare me with death and all this other kind of stuff. Cause really I've been nervous to drive on the freeway. Right. So they were playing with my mind then. The succubus was, thinking that, oh, I'm going along with you. She was going along. See, and the other game that they will play is that even if you do get away, they'll exploit your new environment because now you're open, you're not as guarded. And she came in with her lust and, all this, basically psychically raping there, with Jezebel. That's what she's going to do. She doesn't come in dreams. She comes in pockets of your what would you call it? I guess of your energy. So basically, the succubus Christie was exploiting the fact that, oh, you're transitioning. So now I get to energetically, since your guard's going to be down because you think that you've gotten away, I get to do whatever my imagination. Like I literally caught this woman in my energy, this creature, she's a slug. She's not really reptilian, but she's like, oh, I'm a wolf and all that. You know how people like, oh, I'm an eagle and da da da. No, 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 no. You're a reptile. You're a slug. You're not. You can take on whatever, but you can take on whatever form that you want. Like there was one time where she was trying to get into my root chakra, and I told her, you got to get out. She always connects with my root chakra. I've it's the stability that she doesn't have. That's the way of taking other people's power, right? So when you start doing your work, when you start healing, when you go through the 4 steps, reveal, heal, grow, show, and show, when you go through the showing just means, hey, I'm doing things differently and I'm showing the universe first and myself that this no longer bothers me. Like still to this day, I can walk in front of these guys and it doesn't bother me. Your red and black never bothered me. When I got to my new place, I was like, you know what? Thank you, Most High. Number 1, that I'm not a racist. I just state facts. Thank you. Number 2, that I'm not shook like that. Right, like the PTSD isn't is part of it's not. Oh, I'm struck by color coding like the gang stalkers do. Whether it's like they're trying to, every time you do something or go somewhere or whatever, they're trying to wear color green. Let's say, right? I'm going to wear green, and oh gosh, there's all these green cars, or white. Right? There's all these white cars and da da da. No, and see, that's part of how you take your mind back, because their whole thing is to break you down, to fragment you. Jamie Ramirez or whatever, I think is James Ramirez or something, the Puerto Rican dude that now has a church, which I find very comical because he's under the false belief. If you've listened, I can't stomach him because I really want to take his chin. I can't stomach him, but because he's a liar, and I'll say that right out. He's a liar. He's not left the occult. He's just brought it into church. Because you can tell he's worn down. One thing that I see in him, that I saw in my personal experience over 12 years in dealing with the Northerners and their cult members, is that you see them come in fresh. They're alive and well when they get to siphon, which means that they've gotten to siphon energy, and they've gotten to plunder the spoils in the physical world, whether that means another person's belongings because they're dead. Right? When in my old apartment before I became homeless, they had killed the guy and he was growing marijuana. They had killed the guy and they came in, swooped right in like a bunch of vultures. And I'm not kidding. Like a bunch of vultures. And his sister was there, and she was like, well, I don't know how they could just take everybody's thing. And this woman, it was a black woman too. I was so embarrassed. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, really, it's her embarrassment. She was a sick woman. Sick woman. Didn't think anything about being you know what I mean? Like, and because I was wondering, how can you do that to somebody? But they're fine when they get to reap the benefits. But if you're that one like me that's gotten away and that's resisting, it's like, there's nothing for me to assimilate into. Like the succubus is like, I just talked to her a few times. There was anything important. There was anything special. I asked the Most High. I was like, is this she? I don't get a good feeling about her, but she's talking about business. No, she just knew what it was. She got into my head before time. Like I could feel her presence, but I didn't. She wasn't like the other lady. You know what I mean? It's like you get enough people that are in your energy field, you get to kind of feel them out, right? And it's like, okay, well, until you do something, I'm not gonna do anything. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we can connect with people and we're friends. And it's just like, okay, your friends connected to you and they're thinking about you or whatever. But we weren't friends or anything, but I'm thinking, okay, everybody's, kind of trying to check anybody out right now. But because I didn't think anything of it. This woman had kids, pardon me, and a husband or a married husband. That's why I like these guys. Jeez. But, and I didn't think anything of it, but she was trying to, she was checking out my bank account. And this was before, because she didn't know that I had gone to the Most High. She didn't know that my intuition was heightened. So I saw her in my energy. She didn't know that, right? She didn't know. She didn't want to know. Her arrogance told her that she was the only one and that she was being sneaky. And this woman, I actually heard her say, you're going to heal me and I'm going to get $1,000 from you. Like she just literally threw it in the air. Oh, $1,000. You'll pay me $1,000 for what? For what? I have my own privates. I don't need yours. You know what I mean? Then come to find out the person has STDs. That was, you know what I'm saying? So the Most High will reveal things to you. So how you outwit the devil, I outwitted her. Because I have a spiritual practice regularly. Even if you feel like the Most High isn't around you because they're clogging, because that's what they will do too. They will bring on that illusion. They'll clog up your energy field. They'll clog it up with their bullcorn, right? That's why they go through their rituals, anything to cut you off, literally. If cutting you off from friends and family didn't work, like I've always been estranged from my family. They've never liked me. Right? I've always had a good time by myself because I can read, I can create, right? That's how I get down. So when they isolated me, that didn't work. When they tried to, it was upsetting that they would break up potentially good relationships and friendships, that I couldn't, but I'm working. So I'm talking to people. So then they went to slandering me. And I didn't say much because if you're not going to talk to me, I tell people, if you're not going to talk to me about it, I don't want to hear it secondhand. It's none of my business what you think of me. And some of the stuff was just downright revolting and they knew, you know what I mean? Then you come to find out that what they're accusing you of, they've done and they're still doing. When the succubus got rejected, it's like, and I was, from what the Most High, because I'd always had a spiritual practice and because I was hyper focused on my future and transitioning, I started the Phoenix is Rising Academy YouTube channel. I had, eventually I was taking, it was almost a year long. God had just blessed me and I won a scholarship to help me, get my business up and running, to help me get my coaching started, all of this. And these guys it was sabotaged one after another. I'd get so far and then I'd get thrown back. And I said, what must I said, I can't do this. I said, I got to literally be out of here in order for anything to go right. Because it wasn't for one thing that I realized. It wasn't for lack of me doing what I needed to do. It wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. And was the hardest thing. So, you have to be so spiritually mature that you see things because you're not being clouded by your past. They can't get you because of what happened to you as a child. They can't get you because somebody left you and now you're bitter and you're holding on to it, waiting for her to get her comeuppance or whatever. And so, you know what I mean? A lot of people say, well, why did I attract this narcissist again? Because you didn't heal from the first one. It all lies with you. If you're not healing from the first one, each one of these women that I'm talking to you guys about, I have already healed from because there was nothing to heal. Why? Because I precogged it. All right, you guys remember that Tom Cruise movie, that precog, where he had the Sybils or whatever, right? And they could predict a crime before it was. See, we could do that already psychically. That's how you get ahead of the devil. I was ahead of her because my intuition, my spirit had been heightened because I had done the work and I kept up maintenance. And she didn't think that I knew my butt from a hole in the ground because some of it was because of the color of my skin, even though she's just as dark, if not darker than me. But she's from another culture, another race. You see, racism isn't just white and black. She thought that I was stupid. Then she got mad because of my faith. She got mad because of my lack of desiring to do drugs or to have meaningless sex. Right? So, and it doesn't mean just because you get ahead of the devil and we play chess and not checkers up in the Phoenix's Rising Academy. That is true. But don't think that you're not going to piss some people off. See, a lot of people don't realize it's like, the warfare is real. It's like, well, it's a lot of people, they don't, and I feel that too. I just want to get on. I want to sell my artwork. I want to, I want to be a coach. I want to get a chance to work with an actress that, and get a few films out, before I croak, leave a legacy. That's been my whole goal. That was my focus. My focus wasn't having sex with a succubus who's married or pseudo married, however that works. It wasn't, trying to, allow myself to be sacrificed by the Northerners. Right? It wasn't any of that. It was, how can I leave a legacy? How can I do how can I get into my purpose? What is my purpose? Why am I even here? Why am I still breathing? Since all of my life, people have tried to harm me physically, murder me. You know what I mean? Like, that's the hardest thing when you got to sit back and think. It's like the only time I've had peace is when I've stayed to myself. And you mean to tell me you want me to go out here and motivate other people? I mean, people's like, well, you said you wanted to be a filmmaker. Yes, but I figured that I could do it by myself. It's hard. But see, that was the other thing that the Most High had to teach me. For whatever my purpose is, it means that I have to interact with people. I have never been afraid of people. I've just been afraid of the toxic ones, right? Because those are the ones that everybody else is afraid of. So nobody stands up. I've always been the only one to stand up. Recently, I was going to do a discussion about workplace narcissism. But, and just recently, I was the only one that stood up against this guy who he literally was getting ready to cause me to be homeless because of his narcissism. He was going to cause me to be homeless because him and another woman didn't want to do. It's not that they didn't have it. They basically, what the end thing that ended up happening, and see, there's again, I always work with spirit, and I've at this time, because I know when we transition out of cluster B relationships, from the gang stalking, from the 1 to 10, 15, 20 year marriage, to a partner that has literally graded us over the coals over and over and over again, we're going to come out a bit foggy. And I already knew that, right? Because I had already done the work. So I knew the symptoms. I knew the signs. It's like, okay, I'm a little bit, I'm chimnified right now. So let me, so Most High, angels, calling my peeps by their name, and hey, can you please show up? Because all I want to do is rest. It's amazing when you get out of that too. I understand, because you got to let your body, your mind, like my body, our body, my dogs even had good, just like, oh, we were all like, my little baby girl lost some weight. They was pooping good. I mean, you know what I mean? Like the stress, anything that was stressing us out was released. I mentioned this in another podcast discussion, how I was feeling like it did that, My stomach, that's how I know it's like, okay, no, your digestive system, when people say, oh, I get this gut, that cortisol comes and all of a sudden you get your gut, because there's nothing that I was eating. I was eating worse before 9/11, which is when all this stuff started, you know, which is when all this demonic energy and these portals were opened, you know. And so that's what people don't realize. It's like, man, but I learned to listen to myself. I know, get away from the window. Okay. I learned to listen to myself. I learned to listen to my body, right? I learned just to chill out, right? There's nothing. And what I learned too is not to absorb, which is what the cluster B wants you to do. And that's another thing that ticks them off, is like, gets them scared, really. Because see, and this is why the difference, when you do your work, you're not afraid. I did my work. So, and I already made my declarations. Everyone who was involved in trying to spiritually assassinate me, raping my babe, like that was the most disgusting thing to watch. Somebody energetically, psychically attack, taking. I can't even. I'm not even going to go there. But yeah. And for you guys who are listening, you are sick, demented, and justice is coming for you. You're not getting away. I'm not dating you. I have nothing to give you. You had no rights. And you're going to be shown who the Most High God is, no matter what you shapeshift into. They already know it's you. And I've done like Pontius Pilate. I wash my hands of you. But I am going to smile. I'm not some of these other coaches, even, motivational speakers. It's like, well, we don't get, yes, we do. We get happy. You tried to kill me. You were assaulting us every which way and trying to get us to be homeless again because we wouldn't assimilate to your delusions of yourself. Do not be ashamed of being glad of seeing the rewards of the wicked, Phoenix's Rising Academy. Don't be ashamed of it. I'm waiting. I am so waiting, but I'm keeping with my life. I'm not obsessing over it. I just know it's going to happen, right? I just know it's going to happen. But we keep our focus. That's how we get ahead. I got ahead of the succubus because I listened to my intuition, to the divine guidance of the Most High, which they could not tap into. They can't tap into that. That is between you and God. That is a personal call. They can't tap into that. The only thing they can do, and they will do, is cause distractions. So you learn not to react. I learned to walk away. I learned to see and shut up and keep a walking. Right? That's what I learned. That's how you gotta get ahead of them. Because by you not responding, they seem to really think that, oh, well, you gotta respond. They assume a lot. Because if you've been doing it, like the one girl had been doing it for 9 years, Olga's like in her 60s, 65 or something. So she's been doing it for, a long time, decades. She's over, she's almost she's over. She's like, she's over half a century old. So, this woman had been doing it. And that's why she was so infuriated, to where she put herself in a psychosis, because she was like, okay, this has been working. I call on this person. They even this is what really kind of cracked me up, but it was sad. But I learned, it's like, I can't save everybody. I can't. But when you have sex offenders on speed dial to try and set somebody else up as one, you've got issues. I mean, like your issues go so deep, there's no coming back from them. Like, really? And see, the thing with some of them too is because I've owned my gifts and I asked my gifts to be heightened, deepened, heightened. When God said, when they were asking, said, increase my territory, increase my abilities. That's what increasing, when you're increasing, asking your territory to be increased, it's not materialistic. That comes naturally. It's not materialistic. It's spiritual. Your gifts are in your divine purpose. Because I can see in the spiritual world, I can describe and confirm for you what you saw. I was talking to a coworker and she said, yeah, it's my what you say, my family, you know, is the one who's mostly does not like me and I can't stand their energy. And that's what it is. So let me read this real quick. You take back you take what belongs to you by praise. Right. So I started saying, even if I didn't feel like it, even if I was weary, right? This is how you get ahead. The how you get ahead of the devil is keeping a relationship with the Most High of your understanding, because you're not of you got a personal relationship. It's not when I tell people, oh, can I pray for you, or can I, I'm not praying. I'm not asking for anything for you because I don't know what you want. I am lending you my energy. I am putting you in my mantra. When I chant, when I cover my babes can't defend themselves. You know how I saved my baby from being sexually assaulted? By sick, perverted men who were taking pictures of her and getting off on that. She's a dog. My fur babies. You see what I'm saying? I mean, like, I got stories for everybody. But because I went through it and because I kept and I succeeded because I kept focusing. Oh, baby. Because I kept focused. It hurt my heart. She was laying on the bed, right? I'm sitting here because we were under 24-hour attack. And we had just gone for a walk. Guy asked me, can I take a pic? He just got out of his vehicle. I've known him before. They had another dog, the Lala, that I ended up taking, and I paid for it for the baby, because they would not take that baby puppy out for a proper walk to go poop and shit and pee. They wouldn't let the baby out. And the baby would sit there, and because they were involved in the Santa Muerte cult, so they were showing that they had authority, that they had they basically, let's just keep it PG. They were violating this baby, allowing her to be violated by somebody in that manner, then ignoring her. You see what I'm saying? They were grooming her to be, and she didn't know what to do. So when I got a hold of her, and she found out, oh, we can go for walks. And I was like, but I was like, really? Because she still had the stink of her previous owners on her. Do you know these guys you're doing things in society that is hurting other people, but you have the pardon me, because that still upsets me. You have the audacity to hurt. One thing that really gets me is that one thing I've noticed with these guys is, like I said, I can feel it. I see it. If you're in my energy field, I'm going to know exactly what you're doing. And it's hard. But most of these guys were sex offenders, women included. But it was hard for me to watch my baby jerking and gyrating, because this guy that had just taken a picture of her during a walk without my permission, and I knew what he was going to do. I knew it. It was literally that same day. We had gotten back. We'd been back for probably an hour before she started gyrating stuff. You know what I'm saying? So if you can, I have a picture of a burn, a welt on my body that didn't come from a spider or didn't come from anything, because they've tried to do it again. They did it, 2 weeks ago. So you got to concentrate like nobody's business. You got to concentrate like nobody's business to come out and do something like that to somebody else. So the first thing that you do is you get control of your mind and you focus on learning the voice of the Most High in your life and how your personal relationship with Him. That's how you do it. Because I tell you, I got heartbreak galore. That's why sometimes it's hard for me to cry. I still haven't cried over everything. I busted out at work. Thankfully, nobody was there. I was in prayer and meditation, and it all of a sudden it just, something happened, and I started getting into the realization that what they had done. You know, I got into the realization, and I was livid. Like I'm was, and I had to ask the Most High. I know what they did, but I don't think that it really. I intellectually processed it, but not emotionally, even though my body shows that it was so stressed out about it. You know what I mean? So I will say that there has been a bit where I had to tap out. Where I mean, I think that any human would tap out. Any spiritual being would be like, okay, you know, it's just, it's especially when you're under 24/7 attacks. You know, so imagine, like, I was not putting up with their crap. I'm still not putting up with their crap. I still got the succubus who was like, you're a $2 hoe and you like 5 and 15-year-olds and didn't know that's your fantasy. That's your thing. You know, like, and one of the things is what you'll find is when you gain emotional intelligence and you're focused and you're hyper aware, which is a good thing. You know, spiritually and intuitively, you're like on point. One thing that you'll realize is everything that they've accused you of, they've either had happen to them or they are, or both. You know, they don't think about that. So getting a relationship with the Most High and doing your soul work is how you outwit and stay ahead of the devil cluster B. I want to read this. So take by praise. So praise. Start being grateful of the you know, being swiftly removed from a toxic relationship. I had to give up any expectations as well, you guys. You know, that was another thing that I had to do. I had to give up any expectation of, oh, well, this is what should happen here, and this is what I would like to, you know, if I don't see this, then I'm not going to do this, and God's not here for me. No, that's not the case. The Most High is always there. There's different levels too, must remind you, right? So I don't know what level I'm at right now. All I know is that everything's pretty stagnant right now compared to what I was just going through. So, and I had to be like, okay, Lord, please don't, I have no desire to recreate competitive. My competitive compulsion is not activated. So, you know, I have no desire to re-engage with anybody, right? But help me to be balanced. Like I said, I didn't leave I didn't leave being a racist, right? I had racists who were coming after me, calling me a racist because I wouldn't let them. What you'll find is cluster B personalities, gang stalkers will use anything to try and get the upper hand, to try and get you to open up to them in any way, shape, or form, right? They were going after my self-esteem hardcore. What they didn't realize is like, okay, what I started realizing is like, you know what? You're trying to have sex with me so bad, and you're trying to knock me at the knees, which means I must be at the height, right? I remember I was looking at I was walking the babes, and I saw myself in the mirror. I was like, oh my God, you're doing so good. You look sexy, right? Like, because I was working out and I was doing exactly what the Most High told me to do. That's another thing, right? I've talked about this weight on me thing a lot because especially for us, for Black women, it's like some of us, I don't desire to be big, right? I desire to be a size that, and you know, the size that's flexible. So, you know, that I can have my, you know, flexibility. If I need to do something, I can do it real quick. Like I was running across the street and I was like, oh my God, like am I just stubby now? What the hell? You know, Like, where did it all come from? But when you have to realize too, and somebody said it for me, and I needed to hear that, because it said, look, realize that you feel tired, that your bones and body ache because of the witchcraft. My bones and body were aching because of the witchcraft. Not to mention I overworked out a lot. So, I own that because there was nothing else to do. I wasn't able to have relationships. They wanted me in the relationships that they wanted me in, which would be with one of their cult members. So, and these guys sleep together, including with, if you got, little ones. So no, not interested in being a part of that. Not at all. So here's the thing. I wrote this down. You were, because the devil or whichever was this water spirit. And I was like, oh God, here we go with this one again. There's always some. I literally had what looked like a midget in the spiritual realm walking. She was like buck naked and on her time, on her monthly, and walking around. And I was so grossed out by it. Like, it's hard sometimes being seeing things in the spiritual realm and then having to describe what you see. I see this little midget demon that's walking around on their menstrual trying to shadowing me. Like, what the hell was the purpose of that? And really what it was one of these people at the butcher. They were working at the butcher store, and she was young, and she was going through the Air Force Academy, and but she was getting and she was Mexican, so she was being initiated. Because, and I didn't realize this until later, but the Most High pointed it out to me. And this is why you have to get into quiet spaces and not think anything. You don't do anything. You just get into quiet spaces so that the revelation can happen. Right. So one of these quiet spaces, he showed me the butchers, cause it's his store, Reyes. And he had worked at the Shango shop, which is just a couple about a couple blocks up. And so I said, oh, he's initiating. I don't know whose daughter she was. And, but she was being initiated. And so part of her initiation, I guess, was to come after me. Right. So, a lot of these guys they would have to come after me. So I'm thinking, okay, so here you have this low self-esteem because they're directing all this energy, negative energy towards you. But when you start looking, critically analyzing it, being constructive about your analyzation, they have to knock you down because you are worthy of love, not because you're not. They just know that they're toxic as all get out and that you wouldn't love something like that. And that's okay. I don't have to love everything. That's what I used to think. Oh, you got to love everything because if not, you're from the devil. No, I don't love everything. I don't love evil. I don't love pedos. I don't love zoophiles or bestiality perverts. I don't love them. I don't love succubuses. I don't love racists who think that I'm stupid just because I'm black and that I'll take anything. I don't have to. That was about me you have to take your self-worth back. You don't go through those steps, and you don't go through I didn't go through what I went through on my healing journey just to rescind back again, just into something. That's why I let go of the title of Christian, not because I don't believe in God, but because the God that I was born into, the God that I was given, was small. Now the one that I have, I can see, I'm going to different levels and heights and different realms and worlds. Are you kidding me? I'm not trading it. I don't care what people call it. It's my life. God wouldn't bless and help somebody who was evil. That's not how God works. That's not how the kingdom of light and love works. And just because I say light and love doesn't mean that he's not good, that we don't get down and dirty. As above, so below. Because I heard distinctly the Most High say, if they come for you, handle it. And that's something that people have to understand. That's why you get your own relationship. You don't get the bishops. You don't get the mothers of the church. You don't get anybody else's. You don't even get the new age gurus and crap like that. You may listen to them, but you have your own personal relationship because it's your life. It's your life. It's your purpose. It's your destiny. It's your calling. You're the one that has to pay the bills, not them people. They trying to get you to give them 10% every month. You can barely feed your babies, but they want you to give them 10%, and they got a big old pot belly. Fasting is beneficial. So when they were attacking me the other day and trying to plant seeds in, well, God did this and God's not for you and da. I was like, And the revelation that I got from the Most High was, you were protected from the full force of the murderous intentions they had planned for you. I was protected from the full force of the murderous plans and intentions, the snares and the traps that they had planned for me. And when I was a little nervous when I got here, I said, okay, because everything's happening too smooth, right? Because I was just so used to them recreating, my spiritual mom said it at one point in time. She said, the devil will recreate a blessing that God's getting ready to bring you just to deter you and distract you from it. And I said to myself, it's like, you know what? This was a little bit too easy. I'm nervous and I'm scared. As soon as I pop on the TV, here's Charmed, right? So am I back in a witchcraft covenant? I'm looking for the signs, but I'm also at the same time, I'm like, okay, don't trip out. Focus, right? And then on one side, I finally said, it's like, you know what? They wanted me to be homeless. They wanted me to be homeless again. 2 years ago, pulled myself up off the streets with the help of God. Pulled myself up off the streets. Didn't give in, just kept moving forward. And they wanted me to be homeless again. And I remembered that. I remembered the energy that was being directed towards me. They were hoping the one demon was hoping that I would be evicted or not. What was it? That I would lose my job. Was mad when I still had the job and I was still getting, like I could feel that. That's how intense this person is with their jealousy, with their obsession of me, that I could literally feel them, because in her mind, we're dating. But you know what I'm saying? In her mind, she's not a sex offender. She did, these people all had what was coming to them. When I'd lived with her before I became homeless, because I put out an ad on Facebook and whatever, put out a fundraiser actually, and was asking for help, and which was really hard for me to do. And she answered, and little did I know that she was just waiting for it. Right? They'll create situations, make themselves look like the hero by rescuing you, but they're the ones that created it. So when I found out that this person, Olga, was the reason for me being homeless, was a huge reason for it. I was like, oh, because all the pieces fit together. So it didn't happen for no reason. It wasn't, you know what I mean? She was supposed to do what she did. And that's the thing. When you're following the Most High is always going to be ahead of the devil. Because the Most High can also see in the spiritual realm and also knows and gets word and gets, little sticky notes and stuff. And the okay, you thought you was going to do this. So that's why sometimes people's like, well, I thought I should. Well, you said, then do it. Save your own life. We've been taught and conditioned to second guess our intuition to the point where, like I was, you know what I mean? Like I had to recognize, I can recognize now when they're telling me stuff. This woman wanted me to be homeless. She wanted me to be jobless. She was getting into people's heads, literally. Like even when I was at work, this twit was jumping on. Like you got to be real desperate to jump on somebody. And this is when I said the psychic attacks. Oh, I didn't do that. So demons portal into spots unhealed. So they will jump into things that are not healed within you. Right. So, and I literally watched her do it because I could hear it and I could kind of, get a little shadow. I forget that Henry and something. It was the name of a movie where he saw demons, right? He saw the demons. He saw into the demon world. And so that's basically, it's like, okay, I'm seeing all this stuff, right? I'm seeing all this transpire right now. And I'm at work. And I've changed from graveyard. So now I work swing and I'm like, yay, but I'm interacting with people. And I'm watching this entity this energy entity go from this one lady and trying to cause stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, this is really weird because I noticed that the further along I get, the more obvious their tactics become. Like this with the succubus, she really thought like, oh, you don't know any better. You don't know me. But she also had multiple personalities. She didn't know that I knew that she had multiple personalities. You got grandma, you got the 5-year-old kid, you got some 15-year-old and another one. And I guess that's the murdering, Latina gangbanger. Yo, I mean, and I still think it's weird that I have every time I say this woman tried to kill me. Both of these women have tried to kill me through their gang affiliation. Because of course, why wouldn't you? You want to kill a high source, sacrifice a high source. And it's not just these guys all communicate with each other all over the world too. They communicate with each other all over the world, no matter where they are, because this is global. Gang stalking was global. So anyway, that's just a little bit. I'm sorry I went over so long. What's refreshing is not having them attack me while I'm doing these lives so much and so strongly, because we're not in that environment. I can feel it and kind of like brush it away. But I mean, just imagine somebody who connects to you and then all of a sudden it's over, right? Because like they're trying to see like, what is it that you're talking about? And it's really not. I think it's just, like when, yeah, it's just, I promise you, Phoenix's Rising Academy, you will not regret taking my 8-week course. The 8-week program from Sealed to Healed is going to go into more in depth about cluster B personalities, and it's going to give you so you can identify. That's the the who, right, and the what, and their tactics and what they're exploiting, how they do it, right. The thing that I say this all the time, and I am going to toot my own horn because I went through it. Like I am a survivor, just like you. We all got different ways that our stories play out, but I am a survivor, just like you, Phoenixes. They tried to crush me. They tried to take everything that meant anything to me, and I mean, including my mother. And that's I'm not going to get into that, but they took that they take connections. And I'm still here. So what makes me different though is that I am not coming from regurgitating clinical stuff. Some of the stuff, I mean, like the definitions, the terms, you know what I mean? Having that that psychiatrist or psychologist, really under the kind of come from a more book. I don't want to say scientific, because science would mean that you would be in the spiritual, the esoteric, the occult. You would be connected to that, because unfortunately, I don't care who you are, but these guys they work with the occult. You can't you just says, I've heard just regular gang members saying, yeah, we always do witchcraft because we want what we want, so we're going to conjure something up so that you don't succeed and that we don't suck, so we don't look foolish. But because I can talk about it from the perspective of somebody who's been through it, somebody who they've literally tried to sacrifice, somebody who they have exhausted, uh witches, warlocks, I don't, people from Haiti. I remember walking at the train station and seeing on within my spiritual eyes on the left side of me, or was it, what was it? No, it was the right side of me, because I was walking the other way. So it was the right side of me, and somebody blew dust in my face. Now that's some shit that you see from some Haitian voodoo priestess shit, right? It was a man though. And I sensed that he was Hispanic. So, and he had blown something in my face, and I remember like waving my hand really quick. Now, there's nothing in the physical. This was in the spiritual. But what's in the spiritual can manifest in the physical, especially if their intentions are strong and focused. Right. And if your intentions are strong and focused in the opposite direction, it's not going to manifest. I mean, I've simply gotten to the point where I'm so powerful where I can say, you're not manifesting anything in me that is not meant to be. And I'm tired of this slimy reptilian slug of a succubus that keeps, oh, I'm thinking about you, but I'm not thinking about you. I don't care. The only time I'm going to think about these people is when I'm sharing to help other people to get free. Other than that, I know where these other people are going. I know where they're going. And that's why sometimes we got to move, right? So you outwit the devil by listening to your intuition in the Most High. And if you want to continue and get further on in your life, then you do the work, right? Where are you stumbling? Where are you blocked, right? Like there's times like I know God has been wanting me to be a vegan literally for 10 years. And I was like, well, why would God want me to be a vegan? Like I like meat. I do know where it comes from, and I'm saddened by that, but I don't have to look at it every day. I mean, I'm just honest. You know what I mean? It's like I like meat. I can have turkey. I can have chicken. I don't have to have beef, grass fed. But to be a vegan, like, what is that? I mean, eating eggs, and I mean, I eat a lot of vegetables. Like I took a whole tub of salad, and it had no spinach in it. It was just arugula and some other stuff, and we was grubbing on it. I mean, those bags, it was like $6 bucket, and that was stuffed. So, and I like salad. I like my smoothies. I've been eating. I mean, you guys have heard me talk on this podcast. It's like I have been eating it. Yeah, these guys, they put us through so much, Jim, just because it's what they're going through, and misery does love company, right? And if you can get a bonus off of it, then great. This person wanted street cred. Well, because people thought, oh, you think that you're better. She thinks that she's better. You're just assuming that. And guess how it started? I set a boundary with a child that should have been watched by the parents. And they thought, oh, we can do whatever because the parents think we could do whatever. Oh, how are you telling me what to do? And think about that you're coming into an area. Now, I've been alive for a while. I had my own apartment at 15, right? So, I mean, like, I know how things are supposed to go. It's changed a little bit over the years, but imagine that you're unsuspecting. And that's what kept these guys afloat, because people would be unexpecting. Who goes into a city? You're moving, you've paid your hard-earned money, and these Northaniels, and this is, like I said, and they're not just taking over California, they're taking over the United States. That's where the demonic principles and principalities have a wealth transfer too. And so, the main principles and principalities are transferring it to their bastard children. And not to be mean, but that's what it is. It's, your bastard children are taking over, and they're very subtle and they're very insidious. And like, I've never met a group of people who could laugh in your face and tell you, passionately, I love you and I want to be with you, but are plotting to kill you at this. Like, I heard it from the ogre that I had stayed with. I mean, I heard what she was thinking. Just like the succubus, I heard her planning my murder. And the guy show up like he's the I guess the junior hitman, because it's not the first time that I had seen that guy. So I'm seeing him almost every day that I'm in the gym, and he's bugging out because I'm like, dude, you guys have been threatening to kill me for so long that I'm just here for it now. Because if you try and do something to me, that means that I can take your breath away. So let's get, I'm froggy as fuck. Let's go. But she wasn't thinking about that. But then here's this twit and and her married husband. Like, God revealed that to me. I was cracking up. I was like, oh my God, that's right. She's married to a married man. And they're not really even married. So I was like, what? And see, the thing with these guys, you can't leave them. They keep people cluster B personalities, especially if you're in a relationship with one. Even if you've never been in a relationship, I was never in a relationship with any of these women, but in their mind, I am in a relationship with them because antisocial is part of the cocktail. Antisocial means not that you don't want to be around people. That's a hermit. Antisocial means that you do not respect rules or laws by anybody. Somebody tells you not to do something, you will decide this. They will decide or devise a way to do it regardless. That's what antisocial means. Even if you say, no, I don't want to have sex with you, they're going to do it anyway. And that's what this woman was trying to do with me. And if she couldn't rape me in the physical, she was going to rape me in the spiritual. So, yeah. So you learn to, when you get to learn yourself, Phoenixes, you and you're around you, because the Most High was just revealing to me my bloodline. Because I asked him, I said, everybody has been afraid and terrified of me. Why? And so it's just your heritage, your bloodline. People would come by me and didn't know me. I was young, I was like 5, 10, 12, old soul. And just means old soul just means that I pretty much knew the players in the game. I just, I just had this sense of knowing we've been here before. This is not the perfect place to be honest with you. Earth sucks. Earth is not the oh God, what do we say? It's not the perfect spot. Let's just put it that way. It's not. Because the same shit happens here. So over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, So you got to be careful when you go through the slipstream, and not to allow anybody to push you in any direction. Just cover your back and your front. So anyway, but yeah, you got to work on yourself. That's how you outwit the devil, is because when you're working on yourself and you're not worried about what other people are thinking of you, because you have no wounds, they can't get in. That's what God cleared in me, was anything that would help them to get the devil to get a foothold. Do you think that I like being overweight? No, it feels totally uncomfortable. But now the Most High has helped me to understand, was revealed to me, that it's stress fat. Okay. So then I can heal the fact that I don't feel attractive and whatever. Okay. And then I grow from it, and I keep moving, and I say my positive affirmations over myself. I bless myself. I tell myself in the mirror, you're good looking. And even if people don't think you're good looking, they ain't been through shit that you've been through. They don't know that people were trying to murder you. That would bring stress to anybody. Let a skinny person go through what I went through and see how skinny they stay. Because, it can reverse too. Because with the things that the things that I went through, I'm pretty sure that person be a skeleton by now. Be a walking skeleton, just nothing but flesh. No muscle, no nothing, just flesh and veins. So, but the thing is that I made it, right? The thing is that I made it. Am I still lovable? You bet. I'm not going to let them take that love away, especially the love of God, right? So it's focus being, but see, I've done the work so I can process that. I can process that. I can love my body and thank her that she didn't conk out. Thank her, that she kept the organs together. Then when they were trying to gut me, like a fish, to thank my heart for not giving out when they were trying to do a death spell on me last year, or still this year, or what? No, it was on my birthday. Yeah, they were trying to kill me for my birthday. Happy birthday, right, sister? Trying to give me high blood pressure. She had killed our mother for insurance money. And lied about the insurance money, not the, you know what I mean, like, and still, and what I found really creepy and what made my stomach turn even more, whew, was that I went to my mom's Facebook page because I wanted to do an honorary film where I'm talking to her and saying to her stuff, and so I was looking for pictures because the pictures that I have are just, I just can't. I want to do something different, and but she'd shut down her whole account. How do you and no pictures, no nothing? Who does that? Who does that? You know? And nobody wants to talk. I mean, you know what I mean? So here's the golden child that's like waiting, and oh, and she's like, oh, we're still gonna get 6 acres, and I mean, like, now she's gotten weird, like she's lost her marbles. And then I found God revealed something else to me, that because of this red and black thing from the Norteños, uh, my brother, half brother, who was there, who's really the one that actually, quote unquote, pulled the trigger. Um, God pointed something out. Said, "You see what he's wearing in several pictures?" I said, "Oh, yeah, he's wearing red and black." So the thing, how you get ahead of the devil, the justice is being served, because my mom did come to me, and all, after processing, finally, it took a while, um in the spiritual realm, and she processed finally, and she came back to me, and she was like, and I could hear her, like, the insurance money though, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And she was really upset, like almost in tears. And I'm like, look, I didn't even let her finish because I couldn't hear, exactly what she was saying. But it was like, you got to I can't do anything about it. They're going to stonewall me, and I know what would happen if I got involved. If I got involved, because I don't like to talk about it. You killed our mother, and no. So, I mean, again, as a coach, I'm still here. That's what I'm saying. So, um, I'm still here, and in order to share with you guys, and in order to provide a safe community where we can talk about these things, right? Where I can share, and hopefully, if leave in the comments if it's helping you. If it is, great. Ring the bell, because I'm gonna keep doing this every Saturday or Sunday, depending on what day I don't work, and just go from there, and just keep building and building and building. I have a lot on my plate. I am transitioning myself, and which is why I put everything on hold from building out the brand. But I wanted to keep up doing and reaching out to you guys, and just getting resettled, and just so I can come from a better, stronger place. I mean, especially after, and to count it all joy that a lot of you are able to, through all of this, with these cluster bees. And I'm so amazed that these guys will watch me on YouTube and just, just, oh my God. But anyway, count it all joy that you got through. Count it all joy, like seriously, because you weren't supposed to make it. And now you're stronger and better because it didn't kill you. It didn't kill you. And you deserve a new life. And you deserve to be compensated. So by doing your work and healing and allowing yourself to, when transitioning is not easy, because like I said, you get that brain fog, you get a little bit discombobulated. Like it was a trip not waking up. I kept saying to myself, it's like Most High, I was like, it's a trip not waking up, or going to bed and actually being covered, and spiritually. And it's not that I wasn't covered. I mean, it's weird because the battle was so intense before, right? And it's not that I'm not done battling, because like I said, I still got the two succubuses and whatever witchcraft they do. They just do not want me to succeed. So then a lot of times when they don't succeed at their goal, then they become very paranoid. Because if you're still alive, that means that you can come after them. And I'm aware of that. But they should also be aware that, yeah, you did what you did, and God saw it, more of it than I did. So anyway, okay, so it's time to go. I got to get up for the morning, go to work. But I didn't want to finish or go to bed without talking to you guys. And so I just, again, you guys, go to the community page, because you guys can download some of my art for free. That's my present for you guys for being such loyal listeners and proud members of the Phoenix's Rising Academy. And again, the new year is, I keep saying this, I've said this all this year, and I mean it. It's hard for one person to do. I don't have any help, and especially, but now, since I'm not under such intense 24-hour surveillance and warfare, I'm hoping that you guys will engage with me and take this 8-week course. And by the time we get it done, I'm going to do like a New Year's sale. So, and just some way to celebrate the new year. But anyway, so stay tuned, please subscribe, like, and do the button thing. And thank you so much for listening. And let me know if you guys can relate, and what steps are you taking to stay ahead of the cluster B. How was your transitioning? Also, what 5 things are you guys grateful for? All right, I love you, Phoenixes, and remember, your blessings are in your ashes. Rise.